The exhibition Hold Me Closer by Thomas Hjelm is about our interaction with social media, how we communicate with the screen, and how we have been living and surviving in the dual reality between the physical and the digital worlds. I was attracted to Hjelm's work for the first time when I met him in July, because I saw something very unique, something that has never been done before. His canvas just spoke to me with his work, where he represents the screen that's been stripped off and built up and stripped off and built up again and again and again. He's trying to show how our overly saturated attention towards our screen and the phone that's constantly in our hands can actually hurt our communications with the people that are surrounding us. Really is a good reminder to pay attention to the physical and to the tangible that's surrounding us, because no matter what, the screen is shut off or it can be broken, and then we will be left with nothing. One of my favorite artworks in the exhibition Hold Me Closer is Refreshing. I particularly am drawn to that work because the word refreshing itself, it gained two meanings, especially when we have been overly exposed to the digital presence and how we portray ourselves in the digital realm and how we get our information. The refreshing of the screen, trying to discover something, trying to learn something on a new topic that interests us, but it's impossible to stay focused and keep focus because there are just too many distractions, and there is just so much to see and to learn from the digital realm. The color palette chosen on that canvas is what could be understood as refreshing. The cold blues and greens, which are juxtaposed to the acidic and oversaturated pinks and reds, are really contrasting the simple black and white text on the white rim that you can see at the bottom of the canvas. So refreshing is relevant because it really reminds us of the rabbit hole in which we dive every single time when we open a device, hold the device in our hands. We decided to place the 6 artworks in 2 categories. We have more of a cooler tone side, which you can see on the left, and more of a brighter, warmer color palette that is visible on the right. The way the works work together, they are speaking to each other and they're communicating with each other because they all relate to the person, the self, the ego, in the constant push-pull relationship between the physical and the digital worlds.
I think with all my sort of practice, it sort of involves a contemporary state of being. So this sort of symbiotic blend between the digital and the physical, and how we sort of work between those two states. What you sort of do is that obviously all the imagery is made with scanners, so it's got this very sort of like digital and flat identity to it, yet the physical elements of the canvases sort of break that up and sort of interjects the physical and the digital into this world. Well, I think the main sort of question it asks is, to reconsider our relationship to our online presence, like that it is one and the same, and there's some sort of disconnect between these self-identities that I think need to be reevaluated as we know the negative impacts of spending time online, how we can sort of reapproach and reevaluate how we share ourselves and our messages with one another. The artwork selection actually I did with Nia, the curator, and sort of had briefly discussed with Conrad as well. It's over 3 years, 2 works from each year. So you've got 2019, 2020 and 2021. So it sort of has, the work itself has its development that you can see in the early aspects of the piece just passing time, as sort of the canvas swells for the first time, and then you have the breakthroughs of the larger ones. I think it was sort of a natural work on sort of scale of what could work within the space, but also having this development chronologically, which also overlaps during the time of the pandemic where we spent so much time online. So it sort of was quite a natural selection process. I think the best way to maybe talk about it is Hold Me Closer, which was the work that was selected for the award in the first place and is the title of the whole show. So Hold Me Closer was made at the very start of 2021, as we'd all sort of lived through a year of the pandemic, and the text on it is sort of ubiquitous with the slogan. It's sort of bold, it jumps out with this sort of depreciating figure in the background, and the canvas starts to disintegrate just as our physical selves had somewhat been disintegrating over the course of the year as we spent so much time online. And we sort of realized at the shift that even though at the start we spent all the time doing sort of Zooms and house parties virtually, that became quite tedious and people kind of became less and less wanting to check in, and it was just a simple text and you would spend a few days getting back to people. So this was an instant thing that we could see how we were changing our relation to technology because it had been so sped up in its isolated focus.